Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real. I'm your host, Melissa Kiplagat, and I'm thrilled to be here with you tonight. Now, before we start with our first topic, why don't we introduce our other hosts for today? Melvin, take it away. Introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Melvin Alusa. I am a professional actor, international actor. I'm also a presenter, and I'm a father to many. In some quarters, I'm referred to as Father Abraham.
So Dr. C, the doctor there is for, I'm a veterinary surgeon. More recently, I'm a winemaker. Samantha Wines, I hope you guys are buying it.
Yeah.
It's really doing very well. And then I'm a matchmaker, apparently, and a reality star. And founder and CEO at Samantha's Brand. I do so many things.
Accomplished. CEO, introduce yourself.
Oh, man. Ati, Melvin, you're what?
I'm referred to in some
Father
quarters
Abraham.
as Father Abraham.
Well, I'm Charles Otieno, the CEO. I'm a seasoned journalist, an editor, managing editor, of course. I was in productions before. I was an actor before, but I retired honorably. I'm a father and a very good husband. I hope my wife says so.
Yeah, that's what I say that one.
Yes. Your wife should actually say so.
No. If he knows, he knows.
I'm a good husband.
Yeah, if you were to be told. But
I'm a
yeah.
great husband.
I like that. If he
Yeah.
knows, he knows.
Yeah, when you know, you know. When you know, you know.
We also want to say a huge thank you to Thailand Carpet for this amazing set, and for Samantha Wines. We're having the red one today, so I'm really excited. So as we begin to sip our wines, let's talk about.
Shall I say something about the
Go ahead.
the red
Yeah,
wine?
yeah.
The grape is Tempranillo.
Huh?
Tempranillo.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it is spelled as Tempranillo.
Yeah.
A lot of Kenyans will call it Tempranillo, but actually it's Tempranillo. It's a predominant grape.
Okay.
It's a grape that is found in Spain. Our wine is Spanish, and it's most wines from Spain will have that grape.
And if you like a nice red sweet, amazing. It's my favorite. So our first topic today is a conversation that was happening on Spice FM. We've been talking a lot about relationships and dating, and this is in the same arena as that. So Absolute was cooking chicken at home, and a woman came, I guess, texted him and was just like, "Oh man, I'd really love some chicken." He's like, come over and have dinner. I'll cook for you chicken." And she's like, "No, I can't come to your house. You know, boundaries might be crossed." And so it started the conversation of, if someone invites you to the house, should you just always expect that they're inviting you to their house? Or can people actually just go and have dates at people's houses? What do you think about dates at home? Would you cook for someone and expect for her to eat the food only?
I mean, definitely. You know, this notion that men cannot have platonic relationships or platonic time in this case, I don't know who put that into people's heads. We are very capable of having a friend, a female friend, and there's nothing sexual attached to it. We are capable, we are able.
What if it's not a friend? It's just someone you met on Instagram or something.
You know, I can't invite someone who I've just met on Instagram into my house and, and make food for them.
But
First
if
of
you
all,
do, it's for other intents.
yeah, but I'll do it elsewhere. Honestly,
Okay.
honestly, in my private space,
Yeah.
if I invite you for some, because also maybe my culinary skills are quite up there, and I haven't done anything for anyone amazing, for some time. So I think it's possible for someone to just have a normal date. Women should stop tagging men as all you want is that,
Yes.
and everything is
Dr. C, what do you think?
Imagine,
Is it possible?
you looks like you really do not know yourself. And ladies should actually just know. Any man, it doesn't matter, even if he's a man of the cloth, for as long as he's a man, when they look at a woman, they're always sizing up that woman sexually. It's true.
It's true, that's why I'm
And your
laughing.
potential. So number one, I think that we need to put it on the table, pack it, put it there. That said, I think so that going to a private space, if it's a man going to a private space of a woman, or a woman going to a private space of a man, we've read it all over. You know, this woman can just come up with something and say, you did something that's forceful. It could be a trap. So I don't know why people would put themselves in that situation. And plus, you don't know somebody until you really know them. I think it's really important that people can meet out there. Once you know someone, before you can really bring them to a close space. You don't know if you're inviting a murderer These days, have you seen how many young people are actually just disappearing?
Yeah.
It's because of things like this.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to actually double on what you're saying. You've got a very good point, because I've seen that so much, and it infuriates me with young women today, especially people who are dating on Tinder and whatever. You're showing up to a man's house. You've never met this man in real life. And I always ask, because I've had male friends and I've had these girls come to their house, and I'm asking them, okay, have you told someone where you are right now? They've not told anyone. And I'm like, you're aware, if this guy wanted to rape you, there's nothing you're going to do, honestly. If you walked into this house and 5 of his friends are there and they all wanted to rape you, what are you going to do? You'll disappear. So women, please, please use common sense. There's no reason you should be going to someone's house if you do not know them and you do not know them well. And even if you know them well, can you let people know where you're going? Yeah, what do you think about this situation?
Well, I think that's pure madness. People have made sex, you're fearing to say it, sex too cheap in this world.
Mm-hmm.
In Kenya, the young girls have made sex it's like eating out. So when I invite you, it's not about sex.
Are you being honest? You as a man, you're telling
Yes.
It's not about sex.
You're saying the women are thinking it's about sex more than the men.
Yeah, because listen, this man just invited this
You're
woman
laughing because it's a lie. Yeah.
for a what? For
chicken.
dinner, for chicken. Then the woman says, oh, crossing lines. Who said you're going to cross lines?
Yeah.
Who put that in your mind?
Because it's in you guys' minds.
No.
not for sex.
No, we are mature
I'm
men here
cooking
because also,
dinner.
yeah, dinner is dinner.
Let me ask you guys.
Dinner is dinner.
Oh, as men, let me ask you.
Yes.
Ideally, dinner is
Ideally.
dinner.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, if that woman came to your house, you're
Yes.
eating chicken, you had no intentions, but she's like, hey,
Yes.
see you guys will do it still.
No.
When is sex is barbecue?
You see,
Because
let me tell
you guys are
you,
not
it's
being
real.
it's
They're
because
not being real.
it's because you guys think all a man wants is
It's sex.
sex.
We don't.
Sometimes I just want to have
And
an
sometimes
I
all
just
a
want-
woman wants is sex.
Yeah, but we
well,
don't
in this
want-
case,
You're-
in this case, I just want to have a good, mature, intellectual conversation
Yes.
about what? About finances.
And so
for
even if she
example.
comes onto you, you'll reject and say,
I'll reject
today is
because
for talking only.
what you should know about men is, unless a woman is my type sexually, I've got
Yes.
nothing to do with her at all. And women come in very many compartments and very many sizes and shapes. Not every woman is my type
Yes.
sexually, by the way.
Yeah.
So this woman who I'm making dinner for could not be my type at all, but maybe she knows something about
very
about
smart.
climate change, for example.
But
And
you
you're
can have
discussing.
it in a restaurant. I
Yeah.
mean, for all intents and purposes, by the way, I would not, especially for just generally, whether they are women or men, young, don't put yourself in situations. And it's not only sex
Exactly.
that can happen. There's so many
Yeah.
young men and young women who are disappearing. They're found in River Yala. We don't know. We don't know what the circumstances.
Even we don't want that woman. Even that absolute had gone across too much. Listen, why are you inviting that woman in the first place?
Yeah, so what you're saying is the people who you would invite to the house are people you actually have intentions
You wouldn't invite someone randomly in your house. That's your private space. Don't invite people in your private space. We know women who've been invited into their homes and they've realized this is a very cool place. I'll give you a story. And they've
Someone
refused to
came and
leave.
stayed.
And they've stayed.
Yeah.
And they've
said-
never left.
And they've never left.
Where?
Oh, they realize, oh, you're single. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So,
and you're,
It's a nice
it's a
house.
nice
and you're
house.
and you're responsible.
You are responsible. We are eating
bills.
chicken. You're paying the bills. I
Yeah.
don't have a roof over my head. Why am I leaving this place? And you have problem of kicking her out after the dinner.
Can anyone really have that problem of
Okay.
kicking somebody out?
Let me actually-
I will lock
yeah.
and disappear for a year.
Now let me
By the
actually
time I come
talking-
back.
Yeah. Talking about kicking people out.
Yes.
I'm gonna go to your next story of now women being kicked out of their marriages. Oh yeah, tell us that one.
You know, let me tell you.
Yeah.
There's a story which was in the papers last week. Actually, the Nairobian last week. They were saying that if you go to the lake region, the beaches along Lake Victoria, there's what we call sex for fish. A lot of women, sex for fish,
Very sad story.
where women come to look for fish and to buy or to go and sell in the outer markets. But remember that the fishermen economically, they have a lot of money.
Okay.
So these women who hang around there, they come there and they prey on these men. So there's something which in Sindo, when you go to Homa Bay, there's a small town known as Sindo,
Yes.
that women do not fear sharing husbands. You can be married to this one today, but akikosa pesa the next day, you move to another one.
So even you as the wife, you're moving.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You just-
Because when I heard that story, I thought it was a thing of the women from outside of the marriage are like, yo, me, I'll take your husband if I want. What I do.
But it's the same thing. Even if women were in marriage, they
So
would
they're
still
just all free.
Yeah, all free.
They're all free.
It's
Wow.
men who now you
Allow
decide,
themselves
yes,
to be stolen.
to be stolen. You think, today I want to be here. You're fine.
You want to be stolen?
Yeah, you want to be stolen.
Yeah. Melvin, what do you think about that story?
I think it's just the levels of poverty.
Poverty.
Poverty makes you vulnerable, and
It's
I
a
will treat
poverty
you.
situation.
Yeah, and I will treat you, and I will, and you see as a man, I see you from there.
Yeah.
I know what you're about. Okay, so it's me. You've profiled me. I'm your target for fish. Okay, I will treat you the way you come to me. So it's fish you want. You want to use me.
Yeah.
Then there has to be an incentive,
But
and the incentive is sex.
But as a married man, your vows don't mean anything. Loyalty doesn't mean
Most of
anything.
these guys in the village are not
monogamy.
going to go vows, whatnot. It's a come we stay situation.
stay.
And that's why you find also there's a lot of HIV prevalence along
The shows.
the shows.
Because
yeah.
people are not getting married? Or
People-
they're just everyone for
It's,
everyone?
I would say it's an official polygamy. It's just a big party going on.
What? Dr. C, tell us.
I think this is a very, very, very sad, unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
It is not the kind of gigolo thing, that, men, we say even me, I want to be used, the kind that happens in Venice or something like that. This is a very sad story, even as we talk about it. You can imagine a woman with children at home. They are waiting for their mommy, and their mommy is supposed to be taking something, or the papa is supposed to be taking something. And the best thing, by the time somebody is giving themselves up for sex, for whatever purpose,
Yes.
most ordinary, normal people I know, they would not do it. They are really being pushed to poverty.
Yeah.
And as a country, like a place like this exists, we really need to look back.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very sad, unfortunate situation. And this is why, by the way, as a veterinary surgeon, I worked for the European Union. And one of my projects was actually fisheries. And I do remember, under that, I was in charge of compliance. Compliance from the time the fish leaves Lake Victoria to the time it gets onto the European table.
Okay, yes.
And some of the things we were looking at are things like this. Things that is not compliance, where women are actually being used sexually, or even not just women, even men. And this is something that is affecting the Kenyan industry at large, from flowers to coffee to what
Avocado.
do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think the people who are eating our tilapia? So it's not just about the chemicals that are in Lake Victoria. It's about the fact that by the time this fish arrived on your table, children were raped,
People are harmed.
women, men, there was sexual. You will throw up.
Yeah.
Imagine you're going to throw up. So
Yeah.
really, as a country, we need to rethink how we
Yeah.
are running our affairs.
And I think what was shocking for me about that story was when you look at the comments, everyone's like, hey, where is that? Me, I want to go there, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what happened to also our respect, kind of what you're touching on, our respect for the family structure? It's like, that doesn't matter anymore. Because when you're here exchanging wives and husbands, there are kids involved in
Yes.
this. So what happened? What's happening in Kenya? I know in the West, the family structure is it even in existence? But I feel
It
like
is,
we're popularizing
Melissa,
breaking up
by
of
the
families
way,
like it's a joke.
Melissa, people talk carelessly about the West.
Okay.
How we think it's just a free fall.
Yeah.
You will really be shocked. Much as the family unit is small, families are really
They're still
respected.
there.
It's not what we actually really think. Yes, it's much more open in accepting many other things, but the family unit is really respected. In a lot of the European
So I guess
countries
what we're
I've been
seeing
to.
is that, but
So we are
on the
just
ground
being
it's
fooled,
different.
and we think so that we are actually now becoming more westernized
Yes.
by accepting some of these immoral things.
Yes.
It is not, it's not what is
It's not
practiced.
Western.
It's not even Western. It's not even what is practiced on the streets.
Okay.
These are just, these open relationships, open whatever it is. We're just opening ourselves up to diseases, to so many other, the whole society breaking down.
Yeah.
I think the problem we have with this kind of situations is that if you do not have proper laws and proper processes of when in such areas
Yes.
where a guy just goes to fish and there's no proper mechanism of how you'll sell the fish, how you'll store the
Okay,
fish,
yes, yes.
and all those things.
Yeah.
Then many other things happen. And that's why you find it is the fluidity of the
Yeah.
situation which influences people. And remember that these people have not been trained.
Mm.
Also, the men who are there, you have lots of money today. The next day, the other guy doesn't have. So you will misuse that resource. Many people misuse that money. So it becomes very fluid, and sexuality and all those issues. So also women run from their homes because you do not have someone to provide for you. And if you go next to those beaches, you'll find someone with money. So if we empower people, then this thing just ceases to be.
Yeah,
Okay,
and just
yeah.
in the line of empowerment, also, I would just bring it down to the desperation of a mother. Maybe you're
Or of a father who's taking care of the kids.
no, I'm going towards
Okay.
the mom, because apparently it's the women now who look for the men.
Okay.
You know, because the men now they have their
They
fish,
just
they
wait
have their money.
there to be stolen.
But if you have kids who are crying, hungry, maybe the last time they took some uji was yesterday evening, and now you're facing starvation. In this case, like today, there's no food at all. There's a case where we had some lady, I don't know, was in Baringo, who had to psychologically play with the kid's mind and boil stones
That was in Mombasa.
in Mombasa.
What?
Boil stones so that the kids can hear there's something being cooked, but it's taking too long, so I'll sleep.
God forbid.
If you're in such a
What?
situation, and there's a man there who has something in his pocket and
Yes.
can give you two fish, even hata kama si ya kukula, ya kuuza, just to come and eat with your 2-3 kids. Think about it.
Yes.
Wow, the situation
Yeah.
is dire.
It's dire.
And
It's
actually,
dire.
yeah, I think that's a good connecting point to
To the
your
next
topic.
point, but I want to say
Yes,
something
yes.
there before that people actually don't understand that, we have a lot of engineers, doctors, and all that actually from Lake Victoria because of the fish and the protein is really important in terms of in child upbringing. But more recently, what we have found and what I found out when I was at the European Union as a project officer was that a big intervention needed to come in because it was found that, you know, the big fish tilapia is fished and finished, and then now even the smaller fish, and we had the highest level of vitamin A deficiency near the lake, where one would think you
Yeah.
have a lot of omena, you have
Yeah.
a lot of fish that's coming up because omena is really rich in vitamin A, and it's so important. Now even the people at the lake cannot afford.
The fish.
This is a very serious situation. Like, it's a
Okay.
really serious situation that is not even a laughing matter. Anyway, talking about open marriages,
yes.
not open
situations.
situations,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So there was this woman, it's a story
Yeah.
on some Kenyan gossip site about a woman in Tanzania who's been living with 4 men.
3. Is it 3 or 4?
3 men,
Three men.
3 men
Oh,
in
3
a
men, yeah.
polyandry relationships. Polyandry where the woman is and now the men are the many, as opposed to 1 man, 3 wives. It's a 1 woman, 3 wives. And apparently they've lived together for almost 4 years. They eat together, they are together, and she says that she's living with them because these men do not have jobs and she's okay to support them. It's sort of in a society like ours where we're seated. This may sound strange to a lot of Kenyans, but before I give my comments, see, the way you're looking at me.
Hey, CEO, tell us.
Eh,
First of all, that is total madness.
Yes, I agree.
Secondly, those men must actually style up. Why are you depending on a woman, 3 of you? You are misusing her, you are abusing her. Culturally,
Yeah.
let's go to culture. It is not allowed for a man even to share, for a woman to share 2 men. It is not allowed.
Nowhere ever.
culturally where?
Yeah, because
In-
they're not.
In your
Where-
village?
No,
No. Among
There's no tribes in Africa.
among the, I would say the Nilotics mostly,
Okay.
and even most of the, you are not allowed to have, when your husband dies is when you are given another husband. You cannot, even in the burials, if you have cheated with a man and your husband is there, you can't share the same plate. It is there, you know.
Wow.
You
Culturally, yes.
cannot culturally share a plate with a man who is sleeping with your wife.
One of you will go.
One of you will die. So these things are there. The culture was to create law and order,
Yes.
because you never know when someone will get jealous of this other one. You are sleeping in this, because I believe this woman does not have a house of 6 bedrooms or 7. Wanajikunja in one corner. You are hearing this one doing his own thing here.
Hey,
You are waiting for
Yeah.
your turn tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is nonsensical.
Yeah.
If this woman is genuine and wants to help these men, pick a husband, help the others from out.
Yeah.
Don't bring 3 men in your home. You are sleeping with them every day, you are feeding
Feeding
them.
them.
When are you Red Cross?
Exactly. I think this situation is absolutely stupendous,
Are you Red Cross?
and I'm not surprised. It's not happening here. It's happening in Tanzania,
Yeah. Are you Red Cross?
where you know, naturally Tanzanian men
Acha.
are not alpha, because
Yeah.
for me, a man naturally, I think you may.
I don't.
I know how she's just looking like, eh?
I'm just
Nothing-
looking and I'm like,
Okay.
nothing to do with toxic masculinity, but the leader of a home is a man.
Yes.
When there's a man and a woman, the leader naturally is a man.
Yes.
And not to say let's not get into those equality arguments, but I believe they are both equal, but the
Yes.
natural
Equal
leader
but different.
is
Yeah.
a man. So in this household, who is the leader? Who is the visionary?
See, the woman.
It's obviously now the woman. Something there is already
Yeah.
is upside down. And then again, these men who are being kept, 3 men, 3 being kept by one woman. You've got no job, there's no hustle you're going to, you're just there to be fed and then to wait for your turn. So like, even how it's shameful. If I knew where they were right now, I would go there and just like
Smack them.
you know the way you go
Whip
somewhere
them.
and with an insecticide and you spray,
Yeah.
and there's so many roaches leaving that place. Those men should
Guy.
be. My God, even the Tanzanian government should rein in on those men, or rather,
Yeah.
or if not, then make it a tourism site for people to come and see how 3 men can be married to one woman.
Weirdly enough, I feel
You
like
know.
the guys have been given a wonderful deal. I don't have to work. I get shelter. I get money. As in, like, all I have to do is have sex with her. Wonderful. My problem is with the woman. I'm just like you said, naturally, a woman is not supposed to be the provider. I don't think naturally we have that instinct to be the provider. Definitely not of our men. So my problem with her is Kwani, desperation has reached you where
I think for her,
like, it's too much desperation. Taking up 3 men.
she's dealing with.
She has her own
for
problems.
me, I think
She's the
dealing
problem.
She's dealing with an esteem issue, because if she was woman enough, where can she come and get a man like me,
now,
who is grounded,
allow
who
me
believes
to
in himself,
challenge
who takes care of his own bills?
So a
And
Kenyan
try,
man.
and try me. I'll chase those two kids off
She's not
and
looking
give her
for someone
and give
like
her
you.
super amazing, grounded, proper male energy.
Dr. C says she's not looking for someone
She's
like you.
not-
Who is she
she's
looking
not
for?
Actually, okay, what you've said is really, truly okay within the society that
Yes.
you live in. Everything is about perception and anyway, I want to advance a theory. But before I do that, I just would like to let you know that just because in Kenya polyandry is not allowed, there are societies
Bring
where
those facts.
polyandry is actually allowed.
Yeah, I thought
the
so.
plateau of Tibet.
Where is that?
It's a place in
It's a
India.
place.
Tibet.
Yeah, very far.
Everybody knows Tibet.
I just want, no, that's what I'm
remote
saying.
village
in-
Some remote village.
some
But
in
remote
Nepal.
village in India.
Exist. It does
Yeah.
exist. And so I want to tell you, in the world where polyandry is allowed,
Yes.
some of the advantages of polyandry, and I want to advance a theory.
Okay.
In
Yes.
Nepal, which is an autonomous region in
India.
in China, and then the Marquise Islands,
Okay.
polyandry is allowed. Now, apparently, there are some benefits in polyandry.
Which ones are those?
Yeah. Apparently, the male sperm has some nutritive properties.
Hassan?
Nutritive properties.
Yeah.
Nutritious properties.
Yes.
That they actually make the woman more fertile. Yeah, and with making the woman more fertile, she produces a better quality ova. Yeah, and better quality humans. Apparently. And
Okay.
therefore, number one. And number two, it really ensures that this woman is going to be really, truly fertile. She produces more ova when you're interacting with several, apparently. This is according to, but I want to advance a theory. So I've talked about some of the advantages.
Yes.
Shall we just say that there is the society how we have known it?
Yes.
And shall we also be open to the fact that society is changing, and within there's a lot that is going on in the world. We are calling about. We've seen people crying about the boy child, boy child, boy child, and it's just not in Kenya alone. The society is breaking down at a much faster rate than we knew. There's AI that is coming, that is really changing. We're going to have hybrid humans.
God
I do
forbid.
think so that maybe things may just tip in the sense that, yes, there's lots of women cheating in their marriages.
That's true.
Around, like,
That's true.
there's someone I
Shockingly
knew who
true.
was recently
Yeah.
investigated by the husband actually did put a camera for 2 years to follow them. And he found that she slept with over 19 men
In 2 years.
in 2 years.
God
in
forbid.
2 years, and she's in a marriage, but she's doing it in hiding. So I think what we are talking about is not whether or not women are sleeping with several men. We are talking about you're partaking with these several men, and all these several men are aware.
Anyway.
They are aware, and they are living in the same space. So what am I saying? What do we call revolution? Evolution. Evolution is when you acquire a certain characteristic
Yes.
that actually allow you to survive in a society better than giving you an advantage better than the other people, and you pass it on to your offsprings. Okay? So if this is going to be a survival in the future, it's maybe we are just at the beginning.
I want
don't
to
want
rebut.
that.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
Oh, wait. So
You see?
what am I
Yes,
saying? I'm
yes.
saying that. I'm saying that, you know what?
Things might start going that way.
This may not really be unusual unless men really take up their roles. This is why even in the wild,
Yeah.
the lionesses are the ones going to hunt, looking after the children. After a while, those male lions are thrown out of the society. The younger ones move in. And by the way, yeah, these animals are always
Yes.
cannibalizing each
It's
other,
okay,
beating
it's
each
okay.
other, eating each
Yeah.
other.
Now, Dr. C, we agree. You've said so many things.
Yes.
The examples you've given us are in Tibet,
And some places
in Nepal.
Yeah.
It's not for
In
Africa.
this
Those
world,
things-
dunia hii.
In-
These things are
Why you
not
dunia?
African. Africa, let me tell you.
But we are all human.
No.
No. Yeah,
Africa
but-
is our business.
Yes.
We will deal with Africans, and Africa is our business.
Ruthlessly.
Yes. Secondly, if this woman wants to be a prostitute,
Guy.
she can be a prostitute.
Yeah.
We are not going to have chills of people who want prostitution. Even that friend who have slept with 19 women, there's a movie we say, you do not marry a hoe for a housewife. If you're going to get married, go and do your research. Don't just marry a woman who will think, and if that sperm is always very good for you to get better kids, then prostitutes will have kids who are very intelligent. Because they sleep with anyone.
Oh, they do.
That's a good
They
point,
do.
you know.
Yeah.
They actually do.
So for me, my argument is, this woman, first of all, she should just grow up, get a husband, and stop these shenanigans.
Yeah.
And Africa is our business.
Yeah. Stop derating other people's
Yeah.
sons.
Good.
And those
But
young-
that said, a closing comment, my dear. A closing comment.
Yes.
That story is not different from that Sindo or Sindodo. Sindo.
Sindo.
Yeah.
place.
Of everyone, everywhere. Yeah.
It's not really different. By the time men are reduced to
Yeah.
that you're waiting for your turn. So many, and you're waiting for turn. Gosh, what
Okay.
is that? Yeah?
Yeah.
It kind of reduces. I was being really impassioned and just opening people
Yeah.
to their minds that the polyandry is something that actually, the fact that
Yeah.
there's even a name, there's a name for it, so it's not strange. This woman is not being strange. There's an English name for it. Okay,
It's
in my
very
culture,
English.
I don't
Yeah.
know if we have.
Very.
You know, there could be a name.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah. I feel like,
Let me
yeah,
tell you.
I feel like we're
There's
kind
no
of.
name in Luo for polyandry.
Yeah. So I think
I can tell you there's
yeah.
no Luo in Luya for
For
polyandry.
polyandry. There's no.
It
There's
does
no.
not exist.
Polyandry does not exist in any African language.
It doesn't.
Doesn't.
It's
Fine.
like
We've,
homosexuality.
Nylons,
agreed.
Cushites,
We've
Bantus,
agreed.
nothing.
We've agreed.
Yeah, we're in
Polyandry, the men have said, is not for Africa.
Yeah.
Africa
Hey,
is our
okay.
business.
So we're going to take a
Africa is our
moment's
business.
break.
Yeah.
Let's calm down and we'll be right back with some more juicy stories.
Thank you for sticking with us, and as usual, we've got a great show ahead. So let's just jump right in. This week there was a trending topic on Twitter. I think it's something that affects most of us that are in some form of employment. So this gentleman was talking about dependency. Our dependency as Africans on each other, especially when someone has got some medication somewhere and they're in some form of employment or even business, and you seem to be the one that is making something, and somehow because of our economic situation in Africa, there's always someone who is depending on you, and there's always someone like in a family of 4 or 5, 2 will have something and 2 will not be so well off. So he's saying that one salary has got so many dependents. You find
So
that
black tax.
Parents are depending on you, siblings are depending on you, friends. So basically black tax. And sometimes you just feel compelled because this is my parents raised me, my siblings sometimes also supported me. So so you find that saving is difficult. Making some investments also becomes a challenge because you're constantly money in, money out. So it's not even a vice, and it's not a vice. And some cases also, they're actually genuine cases. Because if my big brother is the one who paid for my school fees and now he's down, I'm compelled to do it. What do you guys think about this black tax issue and how it's sustaining the cycle of poverty?
I think it's something that is
What's the word?
commendable.
Commendable.
I think it's commendable. I think so that let's not forget, Kenya is now it's independent for about 50 years.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Yeah, about 50 years. That's just about maybe 2 generations in terms of true wealth creation. When it comes to education, when the former president, Arap Moi, even with milk in the school and all that, inclusion, championing the rights of the girl, but also championing even the rights of the boy, and free education, we are still a little bit far. And that some of us are actually in school because the whole society, we take it for granted that you can walk. I remember as a child walking from my house to go to school. All these things we are hearing about rape, I don't know what, these things were, the society was actually raising you.
Yes.
There's fundraising that is going on to send somebody for an education. And I think so that it's something that is commendable, the Harambee spirit,
Yes.
that we are coming together to just send one of our own and come out of poverty. And it is important that we can actually look back and send back the lift. Send back the lift, like what Tom Mboya did in terms of lifting Africans, taking them to America. Now we had the first African president in America being African. You can imagine how many doors will open for Kenyans for him just being a Kenyan. It's really important that we can all look back and try to help.
And I think you raised a good point when you said our country is really young. Because I think part of that burden is we don't have systems. Like in Europe, education is free, your medical care is free. If we had those things here in Africa, then we wouldn't need to pay that much money towards taking care of your parents and your brother's kids and all of these things, because you'd have systems in place to take care of those things. So I do think our age as a country and where our systems are now is part of the reason why maybe some people are feeling that burden is a lot. But I also think we need to stop that thing of looking at our children, this is my future wealth. I'll have many children because they'll take care of me. Yeah. I understand why, but I do think as parents, we need to start thinking about our own retirements and being able to take care of ourselves so that we're not drains on our kids, and so they can build now more wealth for now the next generation and the next generation. What do you think?
Now, I'm always indifferent when we talk about black tax because of 2 major reasons. And I would put it this way, that if you look at the dependency theory, which was fronted by Kaplinski, Kenyans, we are at 70% of World Bank report 2021, that 70% of what you earn naturally goes to people, either many other things, people, relatives, friends. It's
70%,
it's
that's
quite
huge.
high. It's extremely, it's
Yeah.
the highest in Africa and among the world.
Do you know
So
what
for
the
me,
regular is for other
It's around
countries?
50. The
Okay.
black tax should be not much.
Okay.
And I support people supporting each other.
Yes.
I support people supporting the endeavors so that we grow together.
Yeah.
But when it comes to over 70%, then we have a serious problem to deal with.
That's huge.
It's an issue. So this 70% means that the moment you fall sick and you've educated the whole of that village, all of them now will come for your funeral. Only. Because the people you are helping, and this is the most, you'll find that even people who have educated most of their brothers don't help them back.
Yes,
That's
they don't.
true.
They
Yeah.
don't help them.
Yeah.
You spend all your money taking your brothers to school, your cousins, your relatives, your uncles' kids. Then one misfortune happens to you. You are on your own. So as much as you want to give that black tax, I will always tell people, take care of yourself first.
Yes.
It is not a must that you give 70%. At least give 30%. We know that you have to tithe. It is there, 10%. Even the Bible is very clear. The Bible does not ask you to tithe 90%. Tells you tithe 10%, offerings and all this. So even in your family, if you are earning 100%, don't give them that 70%. What will you eat?
What will you eat?
What
And
will you
your
save?
kids.
What will your kids depend on?
Yes.
So black tax, we've taken it too far. In
Do you
this,
feel like people are feeling entitled now?
yeah,
Like,
it's
you're
an
my brother.
entitlement. You're my brother. You have to educate me.
Yeah.
Then when I tell you, when you get a job, I need my money back, you start telling me, did I tell you to take me to school?
That's true.
But
That
you
does
know what?
happen.
Let me just comment on that. Because there are various ways. Either we pay this black tax. Me, as a stand here, I've paid a lot of black tax. Like, honestly, until I just look back and I'm like, okay, but I'm okay, even if you don't talk to me now, because I would be feeling bad that maybe
I
if I
didn't
would have
help you.
helped. But this is the other thing that would have happened. Let's go to, say, Central Europe. You know, countries like the Czech Republic, the former Russian
Yes, yes.
USSR.
Yeah, just Eastern
USSR,
Europe,
Yeah.
yeah.
the ones that were part of that.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Georgia. Those.
Do you know what they did? They took up everything and they became a socialist. They
Yes.
became socialist states. What happened was that everything became very equal. And right now, if you go in those countries, even though they are no longer part of the bloc, almost everyone is almost in a similar situation. There are those ones who are coming up, but people can at least get some basic things. Now, for the case of Kenya, this is what I see. If we either pay that black tax
Yeah.
or two things will happen. Number one, when it comes to agriculture, for us to afford food for everyone, because we know that the country has been really, truly subdivided in a way that we don't even have those big farms. The government can repossess all the land. Like they land, for example, in my village, repossess all the land. They go and build some affordable homes somewhere. You all move there. Take that land, put it to agricultural use. You see, those are some of the options governments have. Ultimately, the whole land belongs to the government, number one. So you now lose that opportunity to be able to make the decision in terms of this is who I'll give my money, but you can be forced into it.
But
The
isn't
second thing
socialist
is,
wouldn't it
the
mess with
but
motivation?
you see, at the end of the day, because this 70% you're talking about is actually too high. So
Yeah.
how can we help? You know, either the government takes everything, they force you into, which is already that debate, we're already having it.
Yeah.
Mpende, musipende, mutalipa 3% for affordable housing. The goats are already coming home to roast. They're usually the chickens, not goats, the chickens are already coming home to roast.
Yeah.
And number three, you're all going to be forced to pay for education for free from primary to the university. Right now, I'm just not being forced to pay for your siblings.
Yes.
But if push comes to shove, governments can actually do that. So what do we want? Let's vote wisely. Yeah, let's stop corruption. Really, truly, when we realize really what this means for us. Yeah. Some people got a proper head start. Today, my Uber driver told me he happens to come from the areas near Lugare, and so we were exchanging because I come from that area. That, oh, you know, my father got 50 acres from the scheme. For as long as you were there, you just got. And I'm like, where was my grandfather when people are getting 100 acres for free?
Yeah.
You understand? So some people had a better start than others. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, you know, this black tax, ebu nyi mulipeni. Otherwise, you'll be forced.
Although
Yeah.
I feel for me where maybe a community we could emulate where this black tax has probably worked is the Somalis.
Yes.
Somalis have, it's an obligation. You're set up for something,
You
they
deliver.
set you up for business, they set you up for whatever, and it's mostly business. They give you the capital, they give you what you need, and you set up, and plus they help you get the networks, and then you move. But what they know is you have to be faithful, and you will be, because they're watching and they're, you know, to give back to the next person. You've been helped,
You
Help the
the
next
so
others.
and so,
person.
help the next. Look at where they are.
That's
Yeah.
different.
Look at
Okay.
her. Yeah, so
They've taken
that's
over Isili,
yeah.
South
For
B.
me,
Huh?
that's the kind of black tax. Therefore, I advocate.
Yes.
Whereby we are empowering each other in terms of business. This is the area you want. I give you the networks. We give you the money as a community. We send you forward.
And
You
then
also give back, and it's you can see now they own everything.
Okay, okay. And actually, tying kind of to what you were saying, you're talking a lot about government and what we should do. There's a UDA, I think MP, is her name Brenda? Or Betty? Brenda. Let's go with Brenda. And what she was talking about, obviously with Mandamano and a lot of these things, also our crime rate, a lot of businesses are getting robbed, looted all the time. And so she was asking government, she was saying that government should allow for business owners to protect themselves. If you're not going to protect us, let's protect ourselves and allow them to have guns, to carry guns, to fight this. Hey, me, I'm just like, yo, have you seen the US? Have you seen the US and what's going on there? Are you sure that's what you want to do? But CEO, what do you think about that?
First of
Should the
all,
government allow? Should we have guns, everyone?
I think that is a very, what you call knee-jerk reaction.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
Because Mandamano is not every day. Thuggery is not every day. There are people who live. It's only that this is a disease which has been caused by other issues. It's lack of jobs, poverty, lack of money, and all these things. So you cannot subscribe a cure to a problem without addressing the root cause. So what is the root cause for Brenda to tell us we need? We do not want proliferation of guns. If in West Pokot, in the Pokot area where the bandits are running rogue because of the guns, if you introduce guns in this city,
Imagine a
that
robbery.
businessman alone will be hiring that gun to go and rob trucks,
Yeah.
to bring and get merchandise for free in his her shop.
Yeah.
So we cannot allow to give guns to people. If you give many guns out there, people will start, the robberies will go higher.
And they'll start using the guns.
Guys will start, the killings, the shooting, the madness in America you're talking about will go everywhere. So it is not, we just need to have our structures and deal with our root problem. But not, that is not the cure.
Because I think, I remember there are a lot of statistics that say that even just owning a gun in your house, it's like the moment if there's a thief in your house and you bring out a gun, you escalate the situation
Of course.
immediately. So the likelihood of now that thief using that gun are increased compared to if you didn't have a gun. But what do you think, Dr. C, about that? Should we all have guns?
I think the issue here is not even guns at all. The
Okay.
fact that actually this came out of a leader that is elected, this
It's a problem.
This is part of the problem.
Okay.
Because the problem is not the guns. You can have that gun. But even my little 10-year-old the other day was telling me they were studying about King Richard, who became so arrogant, and they were learning about the peasant revolution. A time will come when this 70% that is being supported by the 30% will really increase, and I'm seeing in Kenya, it's really increasing, they'll become 90%. That you will not be able even to come out of your house, even the leaders themselves. I really hope they're looking at it. Yeah, because there's a very small 30% that is supporting the whole country.
Yes.
This is part of the problem. You know, we need to find out how we can become partially socialist.
Yes.
I've been advancing this thing
Yes,
all the
yes,
time.
yes.
There's no way. The full capitalism cannot work in a society
Yeah.
like ours. So we as private citizens are shouldering some of the policies the government needs to put in place.
Yes.
Yeah. So they should not be talking about guns. They should be in the legislating and seeing how we're going to stop corruption, how we are going to, now I'm seeing some new
Uplift,
people,
yeah.
eh?
Uplift people who
Uplift
are
people
at the bottom. Yeah.
At the bottom. Like, this is a very serious issue.
Yeah.
This person should be voted out.
Okay, so I think you're agreeing with him that we need to look at the root cause, not at
Yes.
the symptom. Melvin, what do you think?
I think most has been said. Let's just
Yeah.
look at the root cause of why there's a lot of insecurity, because she's just raising an insecurity issue. You know, the haves and the have-nots. Why is the gap between the rich and the poor so big? You know, empower people. You know, look at, and we put them there to make policies that can help us and, you know, make the business environment better and basically just kick poverty out. If we do that, like I'm in agreement, poverty goes a bit down or goes down, the need for guns will not even be there.
Yes.
And then number two, look at a country like Rwanda. Rwanda in Africa has got the lowest rates of any manner of violence. In fact, it is recorded that there's no violence in Rwanda at all.
Yeah.
I think what happened in the 1994 genocide and the effect of that and how Kagame came through and did what he did, he's instilled such government fear in people that you cannot even quarrel with your wife privately in the bedroom and start screaming. You will see the military at your gate.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, okay, I know fear is also concocted with fear,
Yes.
but however, people are disciplined. There seems to be a system that's at least working for the people at this point, and therefore the need for violence and guns is just not there.
So no
And
guns.
I want
yes.
to add something on that
Yeah.
King Richard story, which I didn't finish. I was so surprised that even for a 10-year-old, this is 2 days ago, she's like, when the peasants actually came to attack the king, even the security people were so upset. They told the king, we cannot protect you. They just opened the doors. So if these legislators think because they have security, they have armed bodyguards, these armed people live in this society.
They're not going home to kill
So they should not think, the legislator should not think even they are safe. They are not safe at all. Their bodyguards are living here. We are facing the same problem.
Exactly.
So it's our problem.
You remember and you brought a very nice part of it, is that you remember the MP for Uganda who was shot by his bodyguard?
The
Just
Okello.
recently, Okello.
Yes.
Why? Because his kids were out of school, but the MP's kids were in school.
Wow.
So he decided to shoot the MP.
Yeah.
He decided, assistant minister, he said, my kids cannot go to school,
But
yours are going to school. So what do you expect me to go and tell my kids? So you can't liberalize guns. You cannot, unless you want to bring chaos in this country.
Yeah.
I think we move on to the next
Yes,
topic.
Yeah.
yes, I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my MP, the rural MP, David Ochieng, the man of the Green Party, he has a party there, MDG, recently said, and it's an extension of what Melvin was saying, that the rich should support the poor. And that's the advancement of Dr. C's theory.
The socialist theory.
Socialist theory.
Yeah.
So he's saying that because there are so many things which are happening, we need to, the richer people should actually take care of the poorer people. For me, I have a big problem with that, because the rich people also have their issues, as well as the poor people. But it is the government to provide the framework to help the poor people. If the government have left the poor people to be in the woods, then how can a rich person help? You can help as much as you can, but it's not, that's my view.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel, I don't know why people think, like you said, that people who are rich don't have any issues of their own. I feel like the problem with that socialist idea is I've worked super hard for my money, and then I'm supposed to give it to someone else who maybe hasn't even worked as hard. See, me, at a certain point, I'll decide, even me, let me be the poor person, you help me. If I don't have to do anything, I can just sit there and someone else will help me. See, let me do that. It ruins motivation for people to aspire to greatness, to aspire to wealth. So I don't think that's a long-term solution. And also, let me just say, if you're an MP, so you're one of the rich, because you guys are getting paid a lot of our money, show us how it's done. You guys help the poor, show us how it's done, and then the rest of us will now come and follow suit.
Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think?
For me, it's the source of where this information is coming from. Like you're saying, an MP, a politician in this country, the so-called Waheshimiwa, who are not, I'm sorry, but not even sorry, I don't see anything Waheshimiwa about them. You're in a position of power and a position of influence. You go there, sit and do nothing. Or I'm sure maybe he's yapping around on social media or outside parliament. But when crucial bills are being passed in parliament, he's absent, perhaps, or doesn't even talk, or hasn't even come up with anything at all. Misses committee meetings. So these guys should not come out here looking for public, to look good in public by saying these kind of statements. Because I agree, me, this socialist thing, I don't. So I wake up, I do my hustle, and maybe someone. There's a genuine percentage of people who are trying, but poverty has really hit them hard, and they're just in that cycle. Although also I believe if you try hard enough, sometimes you sort of move up a bit.
Yeah.
But the ones who are just sitting, perhaps just
And
there,
they're not few.
Yeah. So this percentage takes care of the rest of this huge percentage. My take is no. Government should actually just increase the tax base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so that we are all paying a certain amount of tax, but many of us are paying some tax in some way. That way is better than having a few rich pay for the rest.
Dr. Sita, as socialist.
I don't want you to get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think I'm just saying that capitalism, in the way that it was intentioned
To us.
it is something ideally that should work. And now we know it is the same thing as democracy. In its wholeness, it was meant to be good. But now we know a few things. For example, we need a benevolent dictator. That's what, whatever that President Kagame is. Yeah, he's a benevolent dictator. And capitalism, in the way that it's supposed to be,
can
for
work.
example, it needs to protect us from where, in a country like ours, where yes, education levels are high, but there are some people really still down there who still need to do some manual jobs for them to live up to the next day. What do you mean? Some mechanize something, it's just gonna come and take something. So whoever is coming to mechanize whatever it is they are, can they pay a little bit more? Some things are subscription based, yeah? And some of those things really take away from the normal, ordinary person. How is the government intervening, yeah, so that those people are really not so affected, whether you want to agree or not? Things like we need to have universal health care. We need to have education. We need to really find jobs or create an environment for business opportunities. I know we say it sounds so cliche, but it's not happening.
Yes.
But so how do we intervene so that even if you increase the tax base, who are you taxing? Do you know how many people have 100,000 in their accounts?
It's very few.
Even
It's actually very few.
How many mortgages are there? 20,000 mortgages. How many people are even earning 100,000 plus?
Is it crazy? Something crazy like 2% of our population.
It's a very bad
something.
situation
It
in
is,
this country.
I always say that the statistics say that less than 100,000 Kenyans earn 100,000 above.
That's insane to me.
It is insane.
So
insane.
that's a number according to Kenya Kenya Economic Survey, which was released. But there's something, Dr. C, you are on to, and I think maybe we need to. I would like to deconstruct this man known as David Ochieng. David, instead of dealing with issues which is affecting the Mwananchi, he was elected in Azimio, he ran to UDA. Now he's trying to sing the praises beyond Kenya Kwanza than the people who are doing it. I think he's not a genuine guy. If the son of Mwalimu would go back to where he comes from, he would have told us what he has done to Ugenya people first. Yeah. He comes from Ugenya. We know his father, we know his mother, we know his village. What has he done to the people there? To, first of all, to show us he's a rich person there.
Exactly.
Has he
What
helped
has
the
he
people
done?
in Ugenya village where he comes from, in his village? He doesn't. What he needs to is to legislate proper laws where we have to know that Kenyans are given the right environment to do that business, and also to tell government, to question government on wastages. In our Kenyan budget, a third of Kenyan budget goes to wastage.
What?
Yes.
Yes.
A third of Kenyan budget is wasted. It doesn't go to any project.
Oh, that's where our
It
taxes
is
are going.
either stolen, it is wasted on illegal deals.
Yeah.
So why are we taxing people and we can basically
Imagine.
And useless benchmarking trips for the
trips
MPs.
for anything? If we just cut the wastages, we are done.
Hey, I will take us to break now. Me, I'm depressed.
You know, it's not depressing. That's
Yeah.
why me,
Living
I'm
in a
here
country like
just
Kenya.
being a politician.
Yeah.
It's just too much. I don't know how we'll fix. We
Yeah.
are really in a fix as a country.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. This tax.
Hey, we'll just take a break.
Well, let's take a
Take a break,
Let's
please.
take a
Yeah.
quick break. When you come back, we'll come back with more thrilling conversations. Stay tuned.
Welcome back on Let's Be Real, and on this segment we've got another juicy topics to talk about, and let's just dig in immediately. Something very interesting, guys, came up this week. General Mustafa, you know, for those, I mean, Melissa, you were still young at the time, but General Mustafa was,
Kano.
I was.
you know, General Mustafa was a prolific musician. Actually,
Yeah.
I think during the renaissance of Kenyan music, he's among the they're called Duke's Vultures.
The vultures.
The Vultures. He was so they were duet, and they were among the pioneers of what we're seeing now, even with the
What's the most popular song?
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
last time. Okay.
Yeah.
Katika.
Yes.
You know?
Okay. Imagine
And-
you know those songs.
Yeah.
I'm not that young.
And so at that
Yeah.
time, I'm sure they had shows, because I remember back in the day when Issa died.
Yes.
That road accident, when he had come back from a show from Naivasha with Nameless, and at that time they used to charge 100,000. 100,000 at that time was like
That's
was
a
compared
lot,
could be
yeah.
compared to 1 million now, or even 700,000 now, and they were on rotation. I also remember, I'm just going to to where he is now. There's this shows, Meru, Kitale, I don't know where come in, take 70K, come in, take so I'm sure he had that, because they were among the most prolific musicians at the time. But now he disappeared off the radar, and coming back, someone recorded him at a Mjengo site. Mjengo ni kazi kama kazi ingine, work is work. But for a musician who was at that level, to look the way he was looking, emaciated, depressed almost, working at a site, in a Mjengo site, it didn't sit well with me personally. As an actor, an artist, honestly, it didn't sit well. And so it begs the question, therefore, when artists in general, and especially music, okay, when an artist, and in this case a musician, is at the top, and their earnings are coming through, what's happening? Are they not maybe investing? Are they not maybe saving? What's really going on for them to come to the point at which we are seeing Mustafa now? CEO, you've been in this industry for ages. What do you think?
Tell us.
Now, I think there are two issues there. The first one, let me just give you a brief background in that. When Kano Mustafa and, of course, Nasty Thomas were singing, at that time in Kenyan music scene, they would make money, but they were not looking at it as a business. It was for fun. Many Kenyan musicians, they wanted to be known. You want to get a name
You want to be
first.
famous.
You want to be famous. You get fame, then you get a lot of many things, and you realize that, oh, so I can make money out of it. But you don't have a plan. Then secondly, I sympathize with Kano Mustafa because he came from that generation where the record labels were the people who owned the rights of the music. And my friend Lucas of Ogopa and his brother Francis and Banda, my friend Banda, I think that they didn't give these people a lot of leeway. And if you look at the Ogopa DJ's stable, Nameless managed to get out well and Wahoo. But if you look at the other artists from that stable, they had a strong grip on the recording deals, the album deals. So they never got, the artists never got out there, like, let's say, Caliph. When you look at the Caliph, you find Juakali, Nonini, Flex. The people who are there, they manage to chart a path for themselves, and they're stable. So I think that Mustafa's problem with money is compounded with the deal he signed with the record label, first of all. So when Ogopa team used to go for a performance, the manager was paid. You understand? So then people are given money. People who realized that could not work for them, Red Sun left. My other friend Nameless left. So the guys who remained in that setup, they did not manage to, they were not in total control of their finances. And this is a problem there. So these guys went into a deal. They did not know, they didn't have lawyers to write for them proper contracts that this song, after 5 years, it's my song. I can perform. So now I was asking, if Mustafa's songs are big, is he not receiving royalty? Is it not the streaming websites? Are they the ones who are earning that money? So it seems that there's a gap there.
Yeah.
But also the problem I want to diagnose is, the second bit is that our musicians have a major problem. Their problem is they don't do music for business. They don't save. A few of the new generation are saving. I remember there's a friend of mine called Didiero who was doing Mofaka Awards. One of the biggest gospel groups was being paid a lot of money. I remember they were given 10 million around 10 years ago to do that tour. 10 million cash. So this boy asked them, why don't we go buy land in, let's have 5 million. We go buy land in this side of Ukambani. Land was $1 million, you get like 10 acres. That said, let's go buy like 50 acres, then we'll subdivide now.
Yeah.
Those guys told him, no. We'll make more money. So let's go. They went, everyone bought a car. They bought nice things, nice houses.
Yeah.
Done. Now, all those guys are dead broke.
Yes.
Totally. If they had bought that land now, they would be
rich.
multimillionaires.
Yeah.
They would have been selling 50 by 100 at 400,000
Yeah.
today. But now they don't have land, they don't have cars, they've been auctioned. They're broke. So we do not have financial literacy among our musicians.
Yeah, but I think you bring up a good point. There's this assumption that just because you're seeing someone on TV, just because
Yes.
you're seeing someone on stage, that they're, number one, making a lot of money.
Yes.
And I know we can both speak about that. A lot of people on TV, when you see their
They're
paychecks, you're
broke.
like, eh? And then, yes, I think that's the other big thing. People don't go into it with a plan. So, yeah, but what do you think, Dr. C?
I think Mustafa's story, I was really active on the entertainment scene the time when Mustafa was a star at the time. So the way the Kenyans reacted, for me, it begs two points. Yeah. Number one is the value and how we degrade certain jobs.
Okay.
I think on this particular platform, I have mentioned about a friend who actually worked in Kenya here, I think for the UN. And then he was a financial expert and he went to the UK and he had to do between his country, Central Europe, and going back to the UK. He went and retrained and became a plumber. He's so happy. He can see his children every day. He's making so much more money and he's okay. I would like to commend Mustafa for actually going to Munjengo site and earning an honest living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
an honest living out of that, because you know what? He could have joined a gang to come and raid all of you.
That's
So
true.
actually, by the way, we all need to contribute if there's a kitty.
Yeah.
But talking of contribution, Robert Alai alluded to something. That is it money he really needs, and where will that money go to? I don't know what he meant. Some people are so sick, they actually belong. And in no way am I accusing Mustafa, but I'm just saying some of these artists need to start in a rehabilitation center.
Yes. Yes.
They need to start there, you know, and see that, you know, you could give money and you're just digging another bigger hole, bigger hole. So we really need to think about the problem. Third, we as Kenyans need to look at ourselves in the mirror, and I'm even talking to the governor, who is already talking about the vibe of Nairobi. We're talking about the vibe of Kenya. For how long are we going to sell the animals in the Mara? For how long are we really truly going to empower our artists to really get on international stage? Because you know what? There is certain things that capitalism cannot just deal.
Yes.
And I want to commend, you know, companies like Safaricom. You know, they used to have the jazz festival.
Yes,
They
yes.
really sponsored artists. I think every corporate, really, truly, they should invest in sponsoring just artists, not just musicians, but just artists. Because I know it's about how many likes you have or how the viewership on TV and all that. Just really support them in a way that does not really look at the return on investment.
Yeah.
Because you know that image we have seen of Mustafa, what it has done to the creative industry in Kenya. There is no parent today who is going to sit and their child is telling them they are going to become musicians, or they are going to become, I don't know which artist, who is actually just going to blindly support them. They will support, but with something else, like, you know what, when happens, at least you can look after yourself.
Yeah.
Why what that image has just done is to say that the creative sector in Kenya does not work. You're just going to end up like this guy. But yet, let's look at why we need these creatives. We need creative engineers.
Okay. Yeah.
So from the get-go, we need to encourage our children to do creative things, even just creativity in its own way.
Yeah.
We need creative doctors so that we can solve our medicine problem, our hospital problems. We need creative engineers to come up, even architects, to build things. We need creativity to solve our problems.
Yeah.
But we need to see people winning
Yes.
in creative sectors.
Yeah, and I think something else that we also have to remember is a big reason why he said he's broke right now is because his mom is in hospital and the bills have ruined him. That is a very popular story. Hospital bills are ruining people's families, even people who are financially literate. They've saved money. So I think it's also, that's, I feel like, a whole other conversation. But I also want to tell people, guys, imagine health insurance is not a joke. Please have it. Please have it.
I spoke to Mustafa in the morning. And he was somewhere in Parklands with the mother. So I'm hoping that we'll have a meeting today.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to meet him. He said he'd come to the office to come and see me. I want to know what is actually happening. Because, one, it's so sudden. And I know sicknesses, they don't give you a warning that you'll come. But also for Kenyans to know what they're dealing with. You see, we cannot just changia you without knowing the situation.
Yeah.
We cannot changia you because of just seeing the photo. We need to have a conversation. You tell us, okay, so what is going on? Because remember when Dennis Olieche's mother got unwell, there was a process.
Yeah.
She was taken to France. We could tell, and then people came. And when Dennis is broke today, we know that he spent his money treating his mother.
mom.
So we just need to know, what is happening? Yeah, what is happening?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but also
Yeah. As we move to
That
our
also
next story.
brings
Yeah.
us- sorry.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I haven't contributed to this topic. Yeah.
That really brings us back full circle on what we were talking about, what Kenyans need to know. Yeah, you know, we've talked about universal health care. We need to have talked about contributing to this kitty. What you don't know is that even though those people, I was just looking at reviewing the healthcare for just my family, just me, my husband, and my child. You know, for the first time, we're like, how are we going to pay this? It came to something like 400,000 insurance alone.
Yeah.
And how are you paying that at a go? look at an ordinary Kenyan. How are they paying that bill? Just at a go. You know, I had to negotiate, like, how can we pay this? And yet we need it. If you want to, when it comes to wealth, yeah, and keeping that generational wealth, the one thing people need to know is that disease can actually wipe away all your wealth in a day, and it can happen to anyone. So that's why when we hear sometimes our leaders talking about universal health care, it's not even a joke. It is, nobody's having it easy. Like, we really need to think about it and look at it, because if all of us, it meant that, you're contributing this percentage, and we're increasing that, even if it's a chicken. There used to be those likurus who went around in villages, going to take people's chicken, capturing, going to sell and contributing into tax. If we all need to do that, so that we don't have the General Mustafas of this world, we need to do it.
Okay, we have to move on to our next topic. So please give us a sentence or two, and then let's do our last topic.
So much, I'm just, but it's burning in me as I finish. You know, just like the creative economy has to be looked into by the government, because, like I say, number one, creatives also need to. So first of all, as a creative, speaking to all creatives, we need to take some financial courses, basic financial. There are some companies that haven't paid me, so I won't talk about them. But they teach people about financial literacy, how to save, how to invest in the little money that you're getting as a creative. Can we go for those courses as creatives now, not wait for tomorrow? However, also with the government, I'll speak as an actor because I'm an actor. Can we have a government that actually looks into the creative industry and finding ways into making it a viable industry, e.g., the things we're talking about? Give international producers rebates. Make it possible for Kenya to be up. And geographically, technically, creatively, we are ripe. But now government needs to come in and make it a viable place for international producers to work. Like I say, give them rebates. So when you give a rebate, it becomes more lucrative for people to come, and then our work becomes more, and we're all working, and we have some financial literacy. Therefore, tomorrow is secured.
And then we need to talk about Riggy G.
Let's talk about Riggy G. Yes.
In that note, by the way, these things just really go together.
Yes. Tell us about Riggy G.
So this morning, okay, I'll introduce something that wasn't there, but I'm going to introduce it. So this morning I was looking at, my Google feed, and I saw something about Rihanna. And Rihanna has now officially, they've released the name of the baby.
Yes.
Officially. Nobody really knew the name of the baby. Yeah. And by the time this name is being released, I guarantee you, this name has been trademarked. You cannot use it. And this is in line with what's happening already with international stars. Now, anyway, talking about our Kenyan politician stars, we know who Riggy G is. That is our vice president. Are we even allowed to be saying
this, by the way? Can we even use that word anymore?
We can
use
it.
Be trademarked here.
Okay, we are looking at the intention.
Yes.
I'm not defaming anybody in any way. But unless you live under a rock, you must know that Riggy G, our vice president, His Excellency Gachagua, has trademarked the name Riggy G. And this is there was so much uproar on Twitter, on all the social media platforms, that how could he do that? He was not even the original idea, the originator of this thing. Well, I want to chime in first, because it's something I really quite passionate about. Musicians, from the topic we're talking about, Mustafa needed to have, for example, trademarked his name, and he needed to be, for example, realizing the asset value. There is an asset value in a trademark. So everyone knows Riggy G sounds really well. We've been doing T-shirts, we've been doing, and people are selling. People are appropriating, making money out of your name. So what has Riggy G said? That is the vice president, that if there's anything to be earned out of it, he's going to earn it. And that is very clever. And that's what rich people are doing. So when it comes to wealth, there's wealth in trademarks. I feel so that the musicians need to trademark whatever it is they're doing. And out of that popularity, how can they realize that asset value? The fact that people are willing to contribute even for Mustafa, it means his name had some asset value. They're associating with him. How can he realize it? Is there something he registered? So I think Riggy G is leading he's leading at the front when it
Yeah.
comes to this trademark issue.
Yeah.
That people shouldn't just think they can wake up because they are called Samantha and think they can just trade in that name. No, that's a trademarked name.
Yeah.
The same way you cannot wake up and say, just because my mother decided to wake up and call me Oprah Winfrey, I can just become now Oprah Winfrey and sell T-shirts written on Oprah Winfrey because that's my name, what
Yeah.
my mother gave me. And Riggy G is showing everyone, all the Kenyans.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Kiondo has been appropriated because with Hakuna Matata,
Yeah.
it's been already taken by
Because
other
see,
people.
because for me, what really, maybe I just throw a
I'm
span in
going,
the
yeah.
works.
Really?
Surely, the name Riggy.
What is it?
What is Riggy even in fact? Because honestly,
Go and discuss with his bank manager.
and I know,
I think you need to have conversations
I
with
know,
his
Yeah.
I know. I'm on a national platform, and I'll just sit without fear and favor.
A fear of contradiction.
Yeah, of contradiction.
Yeah.
When you look at the personality of the man, the way, I mean, what does he stand for? Why should I go and buy a T-shirt written Riggy G? What pride is there in me wearing a T-shirt called Riggy G or a band called Riggy G? We know how our vice president handles himself and carries himself. Some of his public utterances are shameful to this country. So
Yeah.
you're patenting a name that is, I think you're excited about the fact that someone came up with a brand called Riggy G. So now you want to patent it. But to be honest, the pride that I'll walk somewhere and get something that has his brand name on it, how many Kenyans will do that? And because it's only Kenyan. This thing won't sell in Uganda and whatever.
I think
Let's
the
not
You know,
forget how many
but
millions of
but
Kenyans
there are
have
names in
been
this,
voted
but there are
for.
names in this, but there's some names in this country that are selling even in you know.
I think the bigger conversation, which I think is what some people are asking on social media, is the question of intellectual property. In terms of, he did not come up with that name. It was the girl that he's now employed. So I think people are asking, has she been paid now for him taking over that name? And it's not the first time, because I think of someone like, is it Jackie Vike? When you see the personality that she puts on the household personality, that's not something she came up with. That was from the show that she was in. Was it Anti-Boss or something?
No, Papa Shirandula.
Papa Shirandula. That's where that persona comes from. But she's made a lot of money with that persona even after she's left the show. And so the question is now, as in, like, should she now pay the people who came up with that character? Where is that conversation about
even
intellectual?
Jalango is know him.
Yes, exactly. So who owns that intellectual property?
Who owns
I
should be-
Matata? Who
I
owns
would-
Hakuna Matata? Who owns the Kiondo? You know, we are
No,
having
exactly,
a
and I think
legal-
those
No,
are the
no, but-
conversation
people
we are
are having.
having
I would
is
think-
a legal conversation.
Exactly.
But I would think
The
in this
how
case,
businesses are done.
Hakuna Matata and Kiondo maybe have been taken care of. But however, our main subject being Riggy G, of course, he's got some lawyers behind him. I'm sure that
Yeah.
girl has been sorted.
Yeah.
And
What do you think?
she's
I'm waiting to speak.
been
Yeah.
given a plum job in government, so she doesn't really care about the Riggy G name.
But you know,
Okay,
Listen.
what do you
think?
think?
Let's
Frank
see.
legal
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah.
I,
know
th-
we're
I,
not
I think we're
lawyers.
mixing two things.
Yes.
The first one is that, Dr. C, you are talking about the other things which were national treasures. Hakuna Matata is a phraseology, is a national treasure. It talks about Kenya as a country.
It's not
It is not a
specific to a
person.
Yeah.
If you talk about Kiondo, is our traditional basket. It is ours. It is a communal. We can patent it. It is our
It's already
thing.
patented by the Chinese.
Yes, that's why we
Trademarked.
messed. Yes, we messed there. But let me talk about this gentleman, Riggy G. Riggy G, when you want to patent your name and you are you have what we call political capital. Let's talk about political capital. Political capital is you need people to wear your T-shirt with your name so that you get to be known in areas where you are known, not known. So it helps you market your brand. Remember, our deputy president is one-term MP and he became the deputy president. He has not been long in this political game. This is his second term, just to speak. In the last 10 years, before that, he was nowhere in the Kenyan political landscape. So he's a heartbeat away from the presidency. He needs his name out there for political capital. Now, he's mixing two things. He's mixing his political capital where people want to vote for him, to know him. That's why you go, you find Uhuru Kenyatta's T-shirts are everywhere. William Ruto's are everywhere. Raila the Fifth, Obama's. Politically, you need people to use your name so that in those villages, guys can carry your narrative. So right now, if I was Riggy and if I was his advisor, I would have told him that he needs that name out there. Let people use it. Let people patent T-shirts and sell, because not everyone will wear it anyway. But it will find its way as a political merchandise. But if you start saying that you want to patent your name,
Trademark, you mean?
and you trademark it, 2020 past 2027, you want to vie. So you'll be forcing us to wear your T-shirts.
Oh, because we can't now.
Nobody's going to be forced to wear those T-shirts.
No, yeah. So what will you tell us?
Yeah.
When you say Gachagua for president, Riggy for president, will we pay you?
Yeah, because people can't just produce
Yeah.
T-shirts with your name.
But I think the bigger, wider conversation
give us our last
the
comments.
wider
Yes.
conversation here, honestly, is I feel so that a lot of ordinary Kenyans walking off the street, do not understand this trademark. Patenting is you come up with something, a novelty, new something, and you patent the procedures, the what. But trademark.
Yeah.
I feel so that a lot of Kenyans need to be enlightened on this idea of trademarks. Even a lot of very successful business people actually are not registering trademarks.
Yes.
And because they are not registering trademarks, a ruling, because I'm sometimes constantly in court trying to fend off for my brand, for people who think they are called Samantha, they can just run businesses called that. A recent ruling, there was a company that started off in the US, started like almost 100 years ago, but there was a Kenyan who decided to trademark that name here. And the company came and they were just like, everyone knows, the whole world knows that this is our product.
Yeah.
No, they failed in the Kenyan courts.
Yeah.
They failed. I actually just, maybe as before we close, I'll have found that company. It was ruled that the Kenyan company that trademarked that name is the rightful owner of the trademark. So from a business point of view, because this is the only way we can actually recover from this black tax, from these whatever 70% dependency we are talking about, we need, as ordinary citizens, to really be aware in terms of what are our assets. And some of the assets we have are our trademarks.
Yeah. Okay.
So Riggy G is a business person. He understands so that maybe he doesn't want that name to be used. We are just, perhaps, maybe he will monetize it in a different way.
Yeah.
And for a national platform like this, for someone who's sitting at home and they have something they think they need to protect a name, they need to rush to the KIPI office, register that name, so that it is not misused by other people.
Okay.
My advice to
Our last
Riggy G
words,
as I finish is you have to decide to be a businessman or a politician.
Or a politician.
Yeah.
It is as simple as that.
Yeah.
If you are a businessman, register your Riggy G. If you are a Kenyan politician,
Don't register.
don't try this at home.
Okay,
But since we know you
You've
don't
heard.
listen, but
You've heard.
Kenyans are listening.
Yeah, you've heard our last words from CEO. If you're a politician, my friend, just do political things by themselves. Whew, what a show. What a show. We've got talked about everything. We've been depressed by our financial situation. We've talked about our relationship and dating situations in Kenya. We want to thank Talent Carpet for this amazing set and for Samantha Wines for our amazing red sweet wine. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about the topics. We like hearing you guys' feedback. And we will see you again next week.
Absolutely.
See you.
See you.
See ya.